Welcome back English Story today. I want to share with you the most inspiring short story you'll hear today. A story that reminds us how powerful small choices can be and how one moment can transform an entire life. So sit back, relax, and let this story lift your day in a way you might not expect. There was once a young man named Daniel who lived in a busy city filled with noise, rushing people, and constant pressure to succeed. He worked at a job he didn't love, followed a routine that felt empty, and spent most of his days wondering if anything he did truly mattered. Every morning, he woke up feeling like he was running in circles, doing things because he had to, not because he wanted to. Somewhere inside, he hoped that life had something more to offer, but he didn't know where to find it. One cold winter morning, Daniel was on his way to work, walking quickly as usual, thinking about his endless to-do list. But that morning, something caught his attention. At the entrance of a small bakery, he saw an elderly man sitting on a wooden crate. The man's clothes were worn out, his hands were trembling, and yet he had a gentle smile on his face as he hummed quietly to himself. People walked past him without slowing down. Some glanced, most ignored him. But what surprised Daniel most was that the old man didn't seem sad. He didn't seem angry. He looked peaceful. Daniel slowed down. He didn't know why, but something urged him to go closer. Hesitating for a moment, he reached into his pocket and pulled out the only thing he had with him, a warm chocolate muffin he'd bought earlier for breakfast. He offered it to the old man. The elderly man looked up with bright, tired eyes and smiled. "For me?" he asked softly, as if he wasn't used to kindness. Daniel nodded awkwardly. "It's not much, but I hope you like it." The old man accepted the muffin with both hands, almost as if it was something precious. "Son," he said, "you didn't just give me food. You gave me a reason to smile today. Thank you." Daniel felt something he hadn't felt in a long time, a sense of meaning. It was small, but powerful. He continued on to work, but the moment kept replaying in his mind. Throughout the day, he felt strangely lighter. The stress of work didn't feel as heavy. He even found himself smiling for no reason. That night, as he lay in bed, Daniel wondered how a simple act could change his entire mood, his entire day. The next morning, he woke up with intention, not routine. Before heading to work, he stopped by a cafe and bought 2 sandwiches and a hot drink. When he arrived at the bakery entrance, the elderly man was there again, humming just like the day before. Daniel approached him with a smile. "I brought breakfast," he said. The man's face lit up. "You came back." That was the beginning of something neither of them expected. Every day after that, Daniel made time to talk to the elderly man, whose name was Mr. Ellis. They shared short conversations, sometimes about the weather, sometimes about life, sometimes about nothing important at all. But those talks quickly became the brightest part of Daniel's day. One morning, after a week of shared breakfasts, Daniel asked, "Mr. Ellis, how do you stay so positive? Most people would be angry or hopeless in your situation." Mr. Ellis smiled bitterly but warmly. "Because I learned a long time ago that happiness isn't something you find. It's something you choose. Life took many things away from me, but I decided it wouldn't take my smile." Daniel didn't know what to say. The simplicity, the strength behind those words, it stayed with him. Days turned into weeks. Daniel realized he had changed. He wasn't dragging himself through life anymore. He had become kinder, calmer, more aware of the people around him. His coworkers noticed his positive energy. His friends said he seemed different. He even started pursuing projects he had long postponed, feeling motivated in a way he hadn't felt in years. Then, one morning, Daniel arrived at the bakery with breakfast in hand, but Mr. Ellis wasn't there. Worried, He asked the bakery owner if she had seen him. She nodded slowly and said, "Yes, an ambulance came last night. He wasn't doing well." Daniel felt something sink inside him. He rushed to the nearest hospital, hoping he wasn't too late. When he arrived, he found Mr. Ellis resting in a small room, hooked up to tubes and monitors. His face looked pale, but his smile weak as it was appeared when he saw Daniel walk in. "You came, Mr. Ellis whispered. "Of course I came," Daniel replied, pulling a chair close. "I brought breakfast." The old man chuckled softly. "You've already given me more than enough breakfasts, son." Daniel shook his head. "You gave me more than you know, Mr. Ellis took a slow breath and said, "I've lived a long life. Most people remember big successes, big achievements, but the truth is, it's the small kindnesses that truly matter. They're what stay with you, and you, Daniel, will live a good life because you understand that now." A tear slipped down Daniel's face, but Mr. Ellis squeezed his hand gently. "Don't be sad," he whispered. "Just promise me one thing. Keep giving someone a reason to smile, every day, even if it's small, especially if it's small." Those were the last words Mr. Ellis ever spoke. Daniel left the hospital heartbroken, but with a new sense of purpose burning inside him. From that day on, he lived differently. He looked for moments to help others not out of obligation, but out of love. He gave compliments, held doors, shared food, donated when he could, listened when people needed to talk. And slowly, he realized something Mr. Ellis tried to teach him. One small act of kindness can ripple through countless lives, creating waves far bigger than we ever realize. Years later, Daniel would still think about the old man at the bakery, sitting on a wooden crate with a warm smile. And he would remember the lesson that changed him forever. Happiness grows when you give it away. So, if you're watching this today, let this be the story that inspires you to be a little kinder, a little softer, and a little more intentional. You never know whose life you might touch. You never know whose world you might brighten. And you never know what kind of beautiful chain reaction you might start with just one small act. Thank you for watching, and if this story touched your heart, share it with someone who might need it today. Stay inspired, stay kind, and I'll see you in the next video.